Welcome to another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the almighty B Live, the money man Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddie Cool. The Sports Bros Podcast is a sports podcast that's by the fans, for the fans, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? This be your boy Eddie Cool, and welcome to episode number 131 of the Sports Bros Podcast. That's right. Episode number 132. Apparently, I can't count today. I don't know what the hell's going on with my own damn podcast, but nevertheless, episode number 132 of the Sports Bros Podcast. Let's let everybody see how great we look here. Let me do this. I'm over here finagling with some stuff. See, we all look great. We all waving, saying, hey, how you doing? Scottie D is chilling. Go Pitt. B-Live is participating in No Shave November. I got my hair did, but I hadn't found it to the barber to shave my face because I'm horrible when it comes to the razor. But that's neither here nor there. But what is, I have two of the best co-hosts in the world. Introducing first, the almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? There is so much to talk about. I'm just gonna, you know what? I normally go on to a little diatribe of what's been happening. I'm just gonna let this. I'm not gonna take up that much time because we're just gonna get into the meat of things. Because I have a feeling that one of the co-hosts on the show has a lot to say. So I'm gonna cede my time to the other guy and allow him to be introduced. Yes, sir.
And as mentioned and advertised, the other guy, the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, none other than the one, the only, the money man, Scottie D.
Tell me why this is the land of confusion. I am confused by the NFL once again. Just when you think you got it figured out, it's confusing. Did Tennessee really lose
we go
to
get
Houston this week? I'm confused. I am completely confused by all this stuff.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Let's just talk. I'm confused. I'm not confused by college football. I got that. I'm very, very much. I have that figured out. Not confused there at all. I'm confused about the National League Most Valuable Player. I'm confused about some NFL stuff. I'm confused. Eddie, let's talk some sports there. Fire it up.
All right, we got confusion, but guess what? You don't have confusion here on the Sports Bros Podcast because we call it right down the middle. We make it plain, all right? There ain't no flipping, flopping, or slipping, or sliding. We right here, in your face, in your ears, every week, every Tuesday, right here on the Sports Bros Podcast. 11 weeks into the NFL season, gentlemen, and we have a lot going on. And as Scottie D mentioned, it's confusing, very, very confusing. We got a couple games that are confusing. So we've been doing things different the past few weeks. This week, we're going to do the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's right, the good, the bad, the ugly of Week 11. And with that being said, Scottie D, the good from Week 11.
I'm going to go back to Thursday night, and I hate it, but the Patriots look really, really good. They're on a roll. They actually are a half game in first place in the division. Buffalo, come on now. Not a good week for the Bills because not only did they seem to finally put the Patriots in their rearview mirror, but the Patriots shut out the Falcons at their place on Thursday night. They're doing good things with their young quarterback. Their defense is legit. The Patriots are a contender. They're good. Be live.
Wrong. The Patriots aren't good. The Falcons are just that bad.
That's true. That is true.
We'll talk about we'll talk about the Patriots in a little bit. I have a feeling that they'll come up in a little bit. But the good that came from Week 11, just across the board. It might be bad to some people, but this is good in my eyes because I really do love fantasy football. And one dude for sure showed out and I'm going to feature his game because the entire team showed out, and they could very well be contenders in the AFC, and that's the Indianapolis Colts. All they did was take down one of the best teams in the AFC by the tune of 41-15, and my boy Jonathan Taylor, that I own in 2 of my fantasy leagues, one of them being a Sports Bros podcast league where I was going against the other guy, the money man, Scottie D, and in convincing fashion. There's still a game to go, but I've already solidified that victory because I did have the likes of Jonathan Taylor at the running back position. Also had Nick Chubb too.
Why don't you talk about the game instead of yourself? Nobody cares about anybody else. Nobody cares about other people's fantasy stats.
Nobody sucks. Cares. It really, really sucks. Haterade. The Indianapolis Colts 41-15. Scottie D is using the TikTok dance as his woosah moment because if we were standing in the same studio right now, it might be fisticuffs. But the Colts.
Will you talk about football for a minute? Go ahead.
I am.
Please talk about football.
Jesus, you know what? I did say I was going to poke the bear, and I obviously he's a Grizzly right now. But yes, the Colts 41-15 against the Buffalo Bills. What's going on with the Bills? We put them up at the top, and then just I don't know. I don't even know. So I mean, I understand
I'll tell you that I didn't see the game. I saw the highlights, but I on the 4-letter network, it seems to be the growing consensus that they are just not that physical. That they are a little bit more set up to try to compete with the Chiefs with their speed and the flash and stuff, and they're not committing to the run, so they're not being physical. And I could see that could be the case there. And Be Live, we have to take the Colts serious because they're starting to gel. I mean, coming into the season, I think I may have picked them as a wild card. I didn't think they would win their division because we didn't know what we were going to get with Carson Wentz, and now it seems like the team is starting to mesh a little bit. And if you're going to use this guy, your fantasy football stud, to set up the as the run, to set up the pass and the play action, man, you're looking good to do that.
I'll put it this way, the best way I possibly can. When your starting quarterback throws 11 for 20 for 106 yards, just 106 yards, and you win by 26 points.
Is that all it was?
Yeah.
Wow.
Carson Wentz threw for 106 yards. But,
I heard that Frank Reich also said that because the run was working, that they were going to commit to running on first and second down, and they did like on 17 out of 18 opportunities where they ran. They just ran.
There was absolutely no reason for Carson Wentz to do anything when Jonathan Taylor has 185 yards with 4 rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown. That dude was doing it all. He leads the league with 15 touchdowns. I mean, ridiculous. And so, yes, I'm talking about actual football while including fantasy football and stats into the picture. The Colts have a recipe for sustainability when it comes to in the playoffs because the game is won in the trenches, and the Colts clearly were the better team, definitely in the trenches. Bills better develop a running game soon, or they're going to be in trouble very quick because I promise you the Patriots are not playing either. They're winning the game in the trenches as well. Eddie Cool, what's good? What you saw that was good from week 11?
What did I see was good because I had a vested interest in that game because on both of my fantasy squads, I have Ramondre Stevenson, right? I would have to say the good would be the New England Patriots. They're trending north. The Bills are going the other way, and the Patriots are trending up. I tell you, man, Mac Jones was looking good. There was very little pressure by the Falcons, all right? And then Mac Jones did what he did, and then the run game between Damian Harris and the aforementioned Ramondre Stevenson, not to mention you got Kendrick Bourne. You also have Jacoby Myers. Did he find the end zone? I don't remember, but anyways, You have all that going on, and then the defense is doing what the defense does best. And you want to hear this funny stat here? Well, not a funny stat, but you want to hear something funny? Because me and B-Lab were Panthers fans, and we despise the Falcons. 3 quarterbacks, all 3 threw an interception. Matt
in the
Ryan,
fourth quarter.
yes, Matt Ryan, they snatched him out. They put Josh Rosen in there, the world's worst first-round draft pick.
No.
Well, yeah. He's bad. He's
that dude from LSU. I don't know.
He's you know what? Jamarcus Russell was exciting to watch when he was on, but Josh Rosen.
I give you that. Ryan Leaf maybe.
Okay, between those two.
Josh Rosen's bad. He's bad.
Yeah, Josh Rosen's bad. Jamarcus Russell had a cannon. All right. Where was I? He gets in there. What does he do? Whack. He throws a duck too, and then Felipe Franks, his first play as an NFL professional quarterback in a meaningful game. What does he do? He throws a damn interception too. The Falcons lose. They get shut out 25-0. All right. But in other words, the New England Patriots, the offense is clicking, defense is clicking. Watch out, Bills. All right, watch out, Bills. So we all 3 gave our good. Next up, the bad, the downright bad, and I'm going to go in reverse order. Me, the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was right there. Then Mike Williams caught the ball and took off, and there was your game. It was back and forth for most of the game, but then where it mattered the most, trying to seal the deal. In the fourth quarter, what happens? Mike Williams says, I'll take that and take it to the house. And so the Steelers are now winless in their last 2 games. Scottie D, what was bad in week 11?
Oh, boy, it was bad in Kansas City for the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, it was bad. Now, before I go jumping off a building, the Cowboys are 7-3. 2 of those losses were road losses to the teams that were in the Super Bowl last year. So I'm not getting overly excited that they're going in the tank, but 2 out of the last 3 weeks did not look good, especially for the offensive line. And I'm going to tell you, in this game, it looked like the moment was too big for the Cowboys. I mean, to me, it looked like a team that wasn't ready to play with the big boys. They didn't look ready on the offensive line. I thought Kellen Moore did not call a very good game. Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, definitely beat him head-to-head. And Dak was getting beat up pretty good back there, but he also didn't look very sharp. And Dak's record now against teams that are 500 or better is not very good. And this was a chance to show up and show out and show that you were serious about being a contender. And he laid an egg. The whole team laid an egg. It was bad all around. But for the contract that Dak got, for the expectations putting on this quarterback, sometimes when the team is having a bad day, you need your quarterback to carry you. And he has not been able to do that. And that's why when B-Live says, is it a failure for the Cowboys to get the to win the Super Bowl? I want to see some playoff wins first, because they haven't proved they're capable of doing that first. They have to take that next step. And this was not a good step. This was not a good week for the Cowboys. Now, can they turn around and win on Thursday? They get the Raiders coming in who are on a slide. I hope so. But, Amari Cooper is out a second time because this guy did not get the COVID vaccination. I'm not going to get into all that, but they say it's been written that that's kind of a selfish thing to do, and it hurt his team this week, and it's going to hurt him again because Michael Gallup took a concussion, and who knows if he will be in or out of concussion protocol by Thursday. It's a short week for the Cowboys. It was a bad week. The Cowboys this week were bad. For the second time in 3 weeks, this was a bad team. Defensively, they hung in there. They kept Kansas City at only 19 points. They had some turnovers, some sacks. Micah Parsons is looking like a beast, but overall bad effort from the coaches and the offense. Be Live?
Wait a minute, didn't CeeDee Lamb get hurt too?
Yeah, did I not say that? about him being in concussion protocol?
You said Michael Gallup, and I was like, wait a minute, wasn't that CeeDee
I'm
Lamb?
sorry. No. You're right.
Okay,
I didn't mean Gallup. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb is in concussion protocol. Gallup is back. He's our guy. Hopefully Thursday. So yeah, I'm sorry I misspoke. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb on that interception right before the half fell back on his head, and he's in concussion protocol. So yeah, CeeDee Lamb. Go ahead, Be Live.
So yeah, Scottie D, you were mentioning about a contract when it comes to Dak Prescott. Were you talking about that $160 million contract with a $127 million guaranteed? That contract, right? Was that the contract?
There's a fan of the Sports Bros podcast by the name of Trey Duke who harps on that contract all the time. And sometimes I have to say, Trey, shut up and watch football and enjoy it. But this week, I'm going to say, Trey, Dak looked pretty rough this week. Now, again, it wasn't all his fault because for some reason, after getting sacked over and over and over again, late in the game, they still decided to go drop back into the pocket on a 7 or 8 step drop, and he was getting smothered. But when he was getting time, he was errant with the ball, and his receivers were dropping it. So it was bad Cowboys. Bad Cowboys. Be like, talk about something else. I'm getting heated here.
I'm just saying, I mean, he did go against a much bigger contract with Patrick Mahomes with $503 billion. Let me put it even better. $500 million contract with $141 million guarantee when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. Had to put that out there. But
Dak, do better. Do better, Dak.
The bad. Before I go into the bad, I'm just going to go over a stat. This team, their starting quarterback, went for 14 for 24 for 107 yards passing. Their leading rusher had 18 carries for 40 yards. Their leading receiver had 4 receptions for 37 yards. Just that stat line right there. Would you think that team won or lost the game?
I would say lost.
Doesn't sound good.
Doesn't sound good. Well, they won. They won the game because they won in the turnover margin department because they committed 0 turnovers while the other team committed 5 turnovers. Turnover margin beat to hell. The bad of this week was the Tennessee Titans.
Confusing. It's confusing.
What happened? Tyrod Taylor, the starting quarterback for the Houston Texans, 14 for 24, 107 yards in a win. I did exclude the fact that he had 2 rushing touchdowns, but a lot of the game, guess what? They had a short field because Ryan Tannehill kept giving them the ball. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
I mean, woo. When we wrote them off, Tennessee Titans. You ain't got what it takes. Ain't gonna happen. You lose to but you come into this game. You build our hopes back up. We're like, all right, Tennessee. They gonna do what it do. They're not gonna make the mistakes. I swear to God, we talked about this last week. That Tannehill was gonna be a game manager. They weren't gonna make those mistakes. Except five of them. Boy,
I got 5 on it. Literally.
But Be Live, this Tennessee team, they beat the Rams at their house. They beat the Colts at their house. Beat the Colts twice. Beat the Bills. And have losses to the Texans and Jets. I'm confused.
Confusion. Very much confusion. That's
confusing to me.
This right here is bad.
Yeah.
I don't like. What is your identity? What's really going on? Are y'all going to make that push? Y'all have the best record in the AFC, but the Texans that we had as a number 1 draft pick, but they don't have that anymore because there's a team in the state of Michigan.
It is rivalry week for that team and that state up north.
Yeah. I'll get into that a little bit later, but yeah, boy, Tennessee, I'm gonna need y'all to do better. And so we've gotten the good out the way, we've gotten the bad out of the way. let's get into the ugly. And you know what? Eddie Cool, I'm gonna steal this one because you Scott got to start one, you got to start one. I'm stealing this one. Because when it came to ugly, oh my goodness. I'm just gonna put it out there. This was supposed to be a homecoming for Cam VP. Superman, dab on him, just excitement, sold out stadium, the noise, everything. I took a break from work. I was like, nope, I need to hear kickoff. I need to hear all of it. Had to fire Cam Newton come out of the tunnel, all the pomp and circumstance. And Cam Newton does his job. He did exactly what we thought he was going to do. He ran the ball. He threw the ball. He was putting on-time throws. He did what he was supposed to do. Who did not show up to the game was our defense, and which allowed the homecoming to be about the other team. It was a homecoming for Ron Rivera.
Mm-hmm.
It was a homecoming for Joey Sly.
Oh.
And it was a homecoming for Taylor Heineke.
We got beat by Joey Sly.
We let Taylor Heineke run the ball all over us. What happened? Our defense, the number 2 defense in the NFL. And we couldn't stop Taylor Heineke. We cut Taylor Heineke. He was our 4th string quarterback at some point in time. He was our 4th string quarterback. We cut him. He wasn't bad, but it was just we had better options. We're not supposed to lose to Taylor Heineke. Man,
Cam
Heineken.
VP? How did Cam VP lose? We got the swagger back. We got Cam.
Shut your face.
How did we lose?
Don't do that. Allow me to do my part. I have enough to say about how ugly this was. What makes this even uglier? I spend a lot of my time spewing a little bit of hatred for a particular division in the NFL, particularly the NFC, and I call them by a very particular name, and it goes by the NFC least. Not the East, but the least. And all my favorite team has decided to do this entire season is to lose to every single team in the NFC least. We have gone 0-4 against. The Cowboys are a better team.
Yep.
But the Eagles, the football team, and the Giants, instead of being 5-6, we should be 8-3. We're better than this. But good God, we switched, man. Oh boy, ugly.
They're not better.
But you know what's not better? Our coaching decisions. Oh my God. Boy, let me just. I'm sorry. I know I'm getting caught up. But be a coach. You're the head of the team. I understand you're feeling the hype of the crowd, but you wasted a timeout because you decided to allow the crowd to talk you out of punting the ball, which we could have switched the field of play to go for a 4th down. Didn't get the 4th down, lost the timeout, and then ended up losing the game because we just didn't have enough time left, et cetera, et cetera. Bad play calling. Horrific play calling. Rule, do better. That was ugly. Eddie Cool, I want you to start off second because we're going to save the best for last. God knows Scottie D is going to come with us. So, Eddie Cool, what was ugly to you this week?
The Buffalo Bills, all right? the doggone Buffalo Bills, they were slated to be a favorite coming out of the AFC, and 15 points. You remember that one point in the season where they outscored their opponents in 3 games? Was it 149 to 27?
It was something like that.
14.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so they smoked everybody. So, like you said, man, the Buffalo Bills, they got to figure out something. And they got to figure out something soon. They got to figure out a run game. Like, think 2 out of the last 3 weeks, you got beat by Jacksonville. And then you had a bounce back win. And then you lose to the Colts. You get smoked at home.
Smoked.
41-15 by the Colts. The Colts are trending up. The Buffalo Bills are going the other way. What happened to that fire and brimstone and fire and feisty defense that the Bills had coming into the season? What the hell happened to Josh Allen, an MVP candidate? Buffalo, what the hell is going on? Sean McDermott, what happened? What's literally going on in Buffalo? And now you got New England. They leapfrogged you into first place in the division. My coworker said this. He's a Buffalo Bills fan. He said, I think the Patriots will win the division. I thought he just had a long day at work and was talking crazy. But from the way things are looking, fellas, it's possible. So the ugly over him, the Buffalo Bills. Scottie D, give us the ugly of the ugliest.
And before you jump into that real quick, it was a 4-game win streak. It was a 166 to 41.
Okay, all right.
166 to 41 Buffalo Bills were outscoring. 2 shutouts. We were like, they're
back.
They're back. All right, Scottie D, go ahead and give it to us. What was ugly?
And just to put a cherry on top of that, the Bills in the next 3 weeks are playing at New Orleans, Patriots at home, at Tampa Bay. Those are their next 3 games. Buffalo can achieve their goals by winning. You know, they have to just get back to their winning ways. But, I mean, it's not going to be easy. I think they got Green Bay still on the schedule, 2 with the Patriots. So it's on the table for them. Ugly. There's a lot of ugly. I mean, we could all point to Detroit. That's ugly. The game with Cleveland was ugly. Cam Newton's hair, very ugly. Ezekiel Elliott, ugly. Lots of ugly out there. Roger Goodell in general, ugly. But I'm gonna.
What about Al Davis's haircut?
Oh,
Mark Davis's.
That's perfect.
Mark Davis.
Thing of beauty. Don't have that's perfection.
Put a bone on there.
But I'm glad you brought that up because the Raiders, I think, were the ugly of the week because things are going very bad for them. No shame really in losing a game to the Bengals coming off a bye week, but they gave up like 100 or it was like 158, 160 yards on the ground, 19 fourth quarter points. Carr's numbers were modest, but it's the situation with the Raiders now having lost 3 in a row. The season at one point seemed very promising for them. Then they lost Gruden to the crazy email situation, Ruggs to the DUI situation. Things right now for the Raiders are ugly. And I hope they say ugly at least one more time because they're coming to Dallas for Thanksgiving Day. But right now, things for the Raiders are just bleak and ugly. And that's a team that we talked about as a quiet contender here about a month or so ago. So ugly times out in Vegas in a beautiful stadium for a currently ugly team. That's all I got to say about that one.
Speaking on ugly against ugly, how about Chucky versus Goodell in the courtroom?
Oh, I'm excited for that one. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'm going to look that up after the show. I want to see some updates. He wants his coin, and he says, Roger Goodell, pay me my money.
All right, real quick, fellas, before we move on to our next segment, what game are we looking forward to next week?
Well, I personally have to look forward to Thanksgiving and the Lions and Bears, because you know that's not at all an ugly game. Bears are ugly too. The Bears are ugly too.
But the defense is beautiful though.
Yeah,
for fantasy purposes, yeah, the defense is beautiful. Even without Khalil Mack, who's out for the rest of the season. Be live. What you looking forward to This
we've
obviously Cowboys on Thanksgiving. That's to me that's what I look forward to every year. I mean, he asked me a question
the whole time.
He asked me a question.
He said real quick. He has specification on this.
I guess I should have been quicker because I know there is no real quick with you. Go ahead. Let's settle in for the next 5 minutes.
This is going to be quick.
We settle in for 5 minutes. Go ahead.
We've talked about it ad nauseum because coming up this week we have the Tennessee Titans going into Foxborough. The Titans versus the Patriots. Are you kidding me? You couldn't have wrote a better script. The way the seasons are going right now, we just talked about the Titans being ugly and the Patriots being really good. What will give this coming week? Titans versus Patriots. I'm here for it. Eddie Cool, what you got?
Eddie, say the right answer here.
Buccaneers Colts.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't see that.
Yeah. But Buccaneers Colts. I want to see how Tom Brady bounces back. Matter of fact, of course, we record on Monday and air on Tuesday. Want to see how he bounced back tonight against the New York Giants, and then the week after that, want to see what he does against the Colts, because the Colts are trending up, and the Buccaneers could possibly be trending up as well too. But we shall wait and see.
Game of the week is Rams at Green Bay, though.
Yep,
that's top two teams in the NFC.
The thing about this, I was going to say that, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go with this other game in the AFC because that's easily could be the top two teams in the AFC. So I was looking at that too. I was like, I think somebody's gonna mention that. I think one of you guys gonna mention that.
I'd be more excited if I didn't just see Tennessee lay that complete egg that we were expecting to be laid a few weeks ago. That.
Right.
Come on, Tennessee, snap out of it.
Give me something. Yes, sir.
Yep, somebody got to give us something. Well, that's it for all the conversation and discussion of Week 11 of the NFL season. The good, the bad, the ugly. Coming up next, the Be Live Top 5. Coming at you.
Do better, Dak. Do better.
Do better, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, the Be Live Top 5.
Oh, man, your boy is back in the building. The almighty Be Live coming to you with my favorite part right here because you know how much I love college football. This is the Be Live Top 5. I don't care about your national polls. I don't care about your committees. I'm coming with what I know is how things are supposed to work when it comes to the world of college football. With that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. And I'm going to go ahead and ruffle some feathers real quick. I'm going to go ahead and apologize ahead of time to the Hall of Famer, Uncle Max, for starting at number 5. I put him down a bit, Number 5 is Alabama. They're going to be on the outside looking in. This is going to be the first time in my poll that I'm going to do a slight bit of foreshadowing because we're at the precipice of the season right here. There's only 2 more weeks to go. You're
not impressing anybody saying precipice. You're not impressing anybody. You're trying to say big words. Just do your thing.
You're going to interrupt my segment that quickly?
Precipice.
I got a few SAT words. I did get it sent to the Naval Academy. Haven't drank all my brain cells away. Good Lord. God, you're such a hater. This is why my segment goes long because you're interrupting me every time.
I'm cranky this week. I'm cranky.
I've noticed.
And we can say too.
I don't know why he's cranky about college football. As much as you don't care about it, and as much as you like to interrupt me, I'm going to try this again. Number 5, Alabama. I am foreshadowing just a little bit because after that game against Arkansas, that's just too close for comfort. I'm starting to question a little bit on the defensive end. I'm questioning it just a little bit. Can they stop the run? Can they stop what they need to stop to beat a Georgia team that's clearly dominant? So I'm putting them out of the playoffs because I just don't see a 2-loss Alabama in the playoffs. But that's what these last 2 weeks are about. My number 4. Notre Dame. I'm putting Notre Dame in. They have 1 game left. is against Stanford. I think they're going to handily beat Stanford, a team that's no longer they weren't in my picture to start with, and rightfully so. They're not in the picture at all anymore. They're going to show the Oregon Ducks how to do business against Stanford. Oregon shouldn't have been in the picture. I don't know why the college football playoff put them in the picture. I didn't put them in the picture, and I was absolutely right. Notre Dame has one game left. It might hurt them not being in a conference championship because they only got one game left, while the majority of the teams that are on this list, they still have 2 games left. With that being said, in 2 games left, number 3, Cincinnati. I'm moving the Bearcats up. And they're going to get a little bit of love because Houston is now ranked in the college football playoff poll. And as it sits right now, Cincinnati will face Houston in the AAC championship. And their last game is going to be against ECU. ECU's not bad. They're 7-4. I mean, of course, they're not recognized, blah, 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 all that stuff. It doesn't make their strength of schedule any better. Don't do that. Don't do that. Could you let me finish? That's why, again, you got you in your comments. Yeah, ECU. Yeah, I said it. Them Pirates. I'm gonna tell Paul you've been talking about his alma mater. All right. But yeah, Cincinnati, they're in perfect position when they're in, without question. Number 2. Woo, why did they do Michigan State that bad? That was not right.
A thrashing, if you will, a royal thrashing.
I thought Michigan State was going. I thought Kenneth. What's my man name? Kenneth Walker, the third, their running back, 28 yards rushing, and all Ohio State did was score on all 7 of their first half possessions, all touchdowns. 49-0 going into half against the number 17 in the nation. Yeah, Ohio State, or as they like to say, and they're saying it on the Fox networks, D. But yeah, they moved up. They moved up to number 2 for me, and number 1, without a doubt, is Georgia. And I want to say this. The reason why I did a little foreshadowing, I mean, I don't even have to explain why Georgia's number 1. That's really irrelevant. The reason why I did foreshadowing is because this coming week, rivalry week, Georgia will beat Georgia Tech.
Easily.
Cincinnati's
big rivalry game.
Cincinnati's going to beat ECU. Notre Dame's going to beat Stanford. Alabama, they're going to beat Auburn. I think so. Unless Bolden, I don't know if Bolden is going to be healthy. Either way. But, man, oh, man. This right here, rivalry week, also can prove as being the round of 16 when it comes to the college football playoff. I'm going to talk about that just a little bit later. So, fellas, Scott, if you eye roll me one more time, I wish you had it on gallery view. That was the ugliest eye roll I've ever seen in my life. I didn't. Do you eye roll? That was an eye roll.
Do it again, Scotty. It's on gallery view now for the world to see.
Jesus, Scotty, go ahead. Now I cede the floor to you, sir. This is your time.
And nothing.
I hate him so much. He ain't frozen.
What do you want from me? I mean, what do you want from me? There is 3 teams that matter, and nobody else is relevant. You know, I was wrong last month when I said we should expand to 12 teams. We should reduce it down to 3 because Georgia is the best team. Alabama and Ohio State are the next 2 best team. And it's the same thing every year. B-Live, you promised me Michigan was going to beat Ohio State this week, and they are not going to beat Ohio State.
I didn't promise you a thing.
You did.
I said I saw that there's a world that we exist in where Michigan can beat Ohio State, and that
no, that's
still exists. I bet $20. That $20 bet is still out there, even though I tried to rescind it. And she didn't.
That bet is gone. Ohio State. we were told earlier in the season that the Big Ten was good. Penn State was good. Iowa was good. Michigan State, they're all getting killed, and it's Ohio State like usual. The Big Ten is the same old, same old. The SEC, Alabama and Georgia, they're relevant, and nobody else is. Do you really think Auburn in a rivalry game get a chance? No.
And any given rivalry game, we've seen it happen all too many times. I'm telling you. Anything can happen.
So South Carolina's going to be Clemson?
That does you. Hey. Look, let's not do that. Let's not do that right now.
So you're saying that there's a chance.
But here's what I want to tell you. For 11 games in the season, the coaches have a particular playbook. For that 12th game, I've seen it. I've seen it with my own two eyes. I don't remember the exact year, but I've seen it. Clemson versus South Carolina, where they put in a backup quarterback that Clemson has never seen, and this dude threw all over the field on us. We've never even seen this dude before. They pulled out a backup that what was his name? Blake?
Dylan Thompson.
Dylan Thompson. That mother, oh boy, I almost lost it, right? Never seen this kid at all. And next thing you know, he just comes out and just dropping dimes. I'm like, yeah.
Okay.
They have a playbook for 11 games. That 12th game, that rivalry game is everything. There's absolutely all bets are off. All of them.
This is Georgia's championship. Georgia's going to win the whole thing. This is Georgia's championship. Ohio State and Alabama are hoping to get into the game against them. Cincinnati is irrelevant. Notre Dame's irrelevant. Michigan will be proven irrelevant. Even the ACC champion Pitt Panthers, they're not. They're good for the ACC.
Hold on, little buddy.
ACC champion Pitt Panthers. They're not on the level to compete with these guys either. And you've been telling me all year Oregon was crap, and there they went out and proved it this past year.
Crap.
Boy,
they were crap.
Them Utes. But no, let me tell you this.
So Cincinnati, you're telling me, is a top 5 team, and we know that if they played in the SEC or even the Big Ten, they would not be 11-0. So it's 3 teams matter, and the rest of the college football universe is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. None of it matters.
I'm actually making your argument for you where the playoff is. This is what you wanted. You wanted.
I don't anymore. I don't.
You wanted. This is what you wanted. Okay.
I just said I was wrong. We need to go back to the BCS. 2 games. Two teams.
No.
2 teams. Because it's all irrelevant.
So.
All irrelevant.
He thinks his MO's off.
And just to let everybody know, to the listeners out there, Scottie D has been going to the doctor for allergy. He's trying to figure out what he's allergic to. At the end of the day, I think he's allergic to the college football playoffs. All right, cool.
I think I am.
I think that's what I think that it is. It's not going to be diagnosed at a doctor's office, but according, because he literally just had a huge cough right when we were talking about it. We figured it out. So I'm going to send you a bill because I was able to successfully diagnose what you're allergic to. You're allergic to the college football playoff. And
you promised me Michigan's going to win this Saturday.
And hey, all bets are off except for the $20 bet I placed against Lindsay.
You promised.
I will see, bro. Woo, buddy.
We shall see. It is rivalry weekend in college football and damn near conference championship the following week. So pay attention. The next few weeks they could get very interesante. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's been another edition of the Be Live Top 5. But, fellas, guess what time it is?
Time for the Be Live 6 through 10?
What?
No Be Live 6 through 10. It is time for our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. And with that being said, hey, yo, Button, hit it.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and ever so lovely Miss Button for introducing our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. You heard the woman. She ain't got no right, rhyme, or reason to lie. None whatsoever, okay? So you know how we do it. We ask you a question. You give us the answers. We talk about it. We might pick at you depending on the severity of your answer or the entertainment purpose of your answer. But all in all, it is good, clean fun over here at Sports Bros Podcast, episode number 132 and 132nd installment of The Choices of the Voices. As Scott hits us with a frozen face while he's blinking. But with that being said, Scottie D, what's on tap for this week's Choices of the Voices?
Well, this week we asked the question, the choices of the voices. I'm trying to change my demeanor to happy. I'm trying to go from cranky to happy.
Real quick.
It's not going to last.
So, this week's Choices of Voices, we asked to give us a game, a moment, a Thanksgiving memory, anything memorable for Thanksgiving, because this is Thanksgiving week. So, what do we get there, Eddie Cool?
I'm hungry first and foremost. But either ways, that's neither here nor there, all right? Matter of fact, around this time tomorrow, I should be home in the great state of South Carolina, which means everybody do not bug me. I'm chilling when I get down there. But other than that, everything is good, fine, and dandy. The Hall of Famer Uncle Mac says it's right on top because Scottie D posted some pictures. It's right on top. Loved John Madden giving out those turkey legs. Yep.
Yeah, John Madden just felt like part of Thanksgiving for a lot of years.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Yep, you're right about that. Tough acting, connecting. Boom! All right, so here we go. The best name in the game, JoJo Comfort, he says, it was the early to mid-'80s and the first time I remember Pittsburgh playing on Thanksgiving. I don't remember the score, but Pittsburgh got smashed by 40-plus points. So he remembers the Pittsburgh Steelers sometimes during the early to mid-'80s getting stomped on Thanksgiving.
How do I not remember that beauty of a game?
Yeah.
Don't know.
The black and yellow got stomped. Yep. Somebody might want to do some research because I'm curious now.
I'm very, very, very curious.
All right, so moving right along, we got Ryan Hagler. What's going on, Ryan Hagler? I think this is his first time. So what's up, Ryan? He says the infamous butt fumble game. And how could you forget about Mark Sanchez running to the backside of his own lineman? Yeah.
Yeah, that was a classic moment. Poor Mark Sanchez, because every Thanksgiving he has to relive that.
Yeah.
You can't escape that one.
Two things that are for certain. Robin Ventura has remembered about the time that he got his head beat in by
Nolan Ryan.
By Nolan Ryan, and Mark Sanchez has remembered the butt fumble. So, hey man, embrace it, make money off of it, do something, Mark. All right.
And I've done some quick research.
Okay.
And JoJo Comfort is talking about 1983.
Okay.
It would be the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Detroit Lions.
Ooh.
And the Lions beat the Steelers a whopping 45-3.
God.
I was the whopping age of 1. 45-3 on Thanksgiving. Oh my God. That's
could that be a reason why we don't never see the Steelers on Thanksgiving?
Well, the Steelers are all overall on Thanksgiving. They're 0-3. They have not won on Thanksgiving.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
So the Steelers have not won on Thanksgiving. 0-3.
Yeah.
That's going to bring up a good point for me at some point because one of those three was not against the Lions. I know one of them was the Jerome Bettis coin flip. Go ahead, keep going, Eddie.
Yeah.
Oh, that was funny.
Two of the three games that the Steelers were played on Thanksgiving have been against the Lions. You want to take a wild guess what the third one is?
They lost 20-10, I think, in that game. That third one. Right?
Very much so. Yes, they
okay.
did.
Yeah.
All right.
I have a feeling that it might come back up. All right.
Yeah. Oh boy, here we go. All right, we got AJ Piccioni. I hope I said his name right. AJ Piccioni or AJ Piccone. Just let me know.
Yeah.
Okay, Piccone, Enrico Ciccone. Okay, I got you. And he said Madden giving out the turkey legs. Scottie D, did you like the Enrico Ciccone reference I did there? Yes, sir. Buddy.
Enrico Ciccone. Yeah, but again, the turkey leg thing that was synonymous with Madden on Thanksgiving, because turkeys don't have more than 2 legs.
Yeah.
But somehow Madden found a bird that had a whole bunch of legs.
So I can just imagine John Madden. Just imagine John Madden ordering turkey. Like, see here, we're gonna go over here. We're gonna get this turkey. We're gonna take a leg from here, leg from here, leg from here. A seal here, a seal here. It's gonna be an alley, and then boom, 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 boom. All kind of legs. There's turkey legs everywhere.
I like that. I like that. I know who wouldn't like that at all, Peter. All right, moving on.
And did you see? There's going to be I think in December they had a little teaser of this of a Belichick John Madden special that they're going to be showing. I think on Fox coming up here.
Yes. Yes.
Did you see? I think Madden wrote a letter to him or something, and they're gonna. I think there's a whole thing on Madden, but there was a section that they showed with Belichick. So I'll look forward to seeing that. I love John Madden.
That's cool.
He was a coach before he did the video game. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yep. He was a coach.
Yeah, he coached football.
Yep. he coached football, and after that, he became a commentator. And boom, talk fat interacting.
How many kids this day and age have no idea that John Madden was a coach?
All of them. All of them. Every last one of them. But you want to? Hey man, you want to play Madden?
You know what? Honestly, how many kids these days don't even know his first name?
They don't. They don't. They don't even know it's a person. They really don't.
It is just a video game to them, and do some research, kids. You'll learn something.
Yep. All right, Mark Olds, he says Leon Lett with 1, 2, 3 sad face crying emojis.
You know, this is one that I was going to mention later, but I'll go ahead and take this now. But I actually looked back at that as a fond memory because, the Cowboys lost that game. But that was the second consecutive year Leon Lett did something really stupid in front of a wide audience. The year before, obviously, the Super Bowl blunder with Don Beebe. And then he pulled this stunt on Thanksgiving where the Cowboys had won the game and he slides into the fumble in the snow, boots it away. They set Miami up with a free field goal from like the 10-yard line, whatever, and the Cowboys lose that game. But that was the last game the Cowboys lost that year. They went on to run the table and win the Super Bowl. So when I think of that, I think milestone, move on from there, not lose again. And I remember Jimmy Johnson had a little bit of a reputation at that point of being kind of a hothead and cutting players. And they said that after that game, Leon Lett was despondent in the locker room. And Jimmy Johnson actually reached out and supported him, said, "We need you. We can't do this without you." And so that ended up as a happy ending. So I'll take that one. That ended up being while in the moment it was a bad thing to happen. It didn't stop the Cowboys from achieving their goal that season.
So the Cowboys won the Super Bowl that year?
They did.
Nice. Was that shot in color or was that black and white?
Will you just move on to the next one? I'm going to shoot you in color.
Oh, man. That was phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Choices of the Voices, and the main event of the Choices of the Voices, the one, the only, the other half of the Facebook Pokey Brothers, Trey Dizzle.
Here we go.
And he writes, as I adjust my chair and turn to my tablet so I can read this right. Trey Duke said, for me, it was the 1998 Dallas Cowboys versus the Minnesota Vikings game. This was Randy Moss's rookie season, and we just had passed on drafting him because he didn't want to be a Cowboy. He had 3 catches for 163 yards and 3 touchdowns. 3 of them, yes. This was the moment that I realized the Cowboys dynasty was over, and not drafting Randy Moss was the beginning of a long, he typed it, string of disappointment. Also, there's a report that Dak Prescott's parents... Anyways, that's neither here nor there.
Conceived. He was conceived is what he's getting at.
Yeah, it involved a fifth of wild turkey and woo! But anyway.
Here's the thing. We read these beforehand, but we just happen to read them. And I just, oh my God, I'm sorry. You stupid. Trey Dizzle is dumb. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Trey, I tried this episode. I tried to extend a lifeline and say I was with you. And now you're telling me that Dak's parents banged on Thanksgiving and you wish they hadn't done that. That's his last. I wish they had never done that. That's what he said. So
Yeah.
And I guess if they had Tony Romo, would still be the quarterback of the Cowboys after all these years.
Or if he had it his way, if he had it his way.
And I want to go ahead and put this out there. To I believe Lisa Caputo.
Yeah.
We made a brief mention about her essays. You're okay. Trey, that was almost essay-ish. I mean, hey, we appreciate your answers. You stupid. But we got to have it both ways. I can't get on Lisa and not get on you. So Lisa, we appreciate it. We appreciate it, Trey. Just wait for my answer.
Oh boy, here we go. With that being said, shout out to Uncle Max, JoJo Comfort, Ryan Hagler, AJ Paccioni or Paconi, depends on where you come from, Enrico Ciccone. I did it again. Mark Oles and Trey Dizzle for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. Let's see, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Scottie D, Thanksgiving. What's your memory? What say you?
Well, that was one, that Leon Lett thing that I mentioned, and the other, Be Live actually kind of rekindled a memory that I actually wasn't even thinking about at the time, but I believe the year was 1991. Do you still have that in front of you, Be Live?
I do not, but yes, it was 91. I do remember.
1991. Yes. The Cowboys were just coming out of the slump of the post Tom Landry, beginning of Jimmy Johnson era, and they got the Steelers at home on Thanksgiving Day, and they beat them 20-10. I remember Michael Irvin having a big touchdown in that game, and you could just start to feel the turn of the Cowboys starting to move towards that championship run they had for those seasons. And I always say the longest game of the year is the Detroit game at 1:00 every year, the 12:30 game. It feels like 12. It just feels like that game goes on for 5 or 6 hours every year, because pretty much my whole life, my whole life, Detroit's been bad. But at least for a little era in there, we got to watch Barry Sanders on Thanksgiving Day. So Barry Sanders gave us some good memories through the years. But that Dallas Cowboys Steeler game and Megatron, yeah. But again, Detroit just wasn't really good through most of that. So those are a couple good memories. But I just always enjoy once we get through that, sitting and watching the Cowboys. That's just, for me, as that being my favorite team, being able to watch them on Thanksgiving Day. Now, some years it gets ruined. Be Live, over to you.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and apologize. I apologized a week ago. You already knew. He asked the question last week. I already had my answer immediately, and I am going to emphasize that point this week because my favorite, and this is going to be my favorite Thanksgiving memory ever, always, until Carolina plays again on Thanksgiving. But 2015. Oh, what a magical season. It's just a wonderful thing. And as I'm a diehard Panthers fan. Cam Newton was doing his thing, MVP season, dab on him. We just so happened to face the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. Dallas Cowboys, America's team, all this pomp and circumstance, and it was one of those things where the Cowboys threw more touchdowns than the Panthers did. The Cowboys threw more touchdowns than the Panthers did. Let me if I remember correctly, yeah, the Panthers did not throw a single touchdown pass in that game. The Cowboys threw all the touchdown passes.
Mm-hmm.
Scottie D just left. All right, cool. The fact of the matter that the Cowboys threw all of the touchdown passes was because 2 of their touchdown passes were to the other team. Tony Romo he was the greatest Carolina Panther quarterback we have ever had. My man, he threw a touchdown to Kurt Coleman, which is he made our defensive players and the offensive players scoring touchdowns. Kurt Coleman in the end zone, Luke Kuechly scoring touchdowns. Man, Tony Romo knows how to take players that have never scored touchdown before and made it into superstars. It was amazing. And then on top of that, we were able to show the Cowboys their depth because they had to actually reach into their backup to get a touchdown throw to their own team when Matt Castle came in the game, because we may have broken Romo just a little bit. We might have broken. And
wasn't that like the it for Tony Romo that game?
Yeah, I believe that was what has now dubbed Trey Dizzle his conundrum right now, where he now has to deal with Dak Prescott as his quarterback as opposed to Tony Romo. So I do send my condolences.
Yeah, you are still talking, huh?
So yeah, that game was but ABC, and this is the gift that keeps on giving. If the Panthers didn't do what they did on Thanksgiving that year, we would not have been able to witness Tony Romo as the analyst that he is. So we just giving gifts all around. Tony Romo's range was tested all throughout. He made defensive players into superstars, scoring touchdowns, and now he's an analyst. Man, hey, thank you, Tony Romo. Just great Thanksgiving memory. I love it.
Hard to believe that Romo and Cam VP had the same amount of rings.
Hey. All right, so I got one.
You made me cranky again.
Uh-oh.
I was here, remember?
I got one that stood out. Matter of fact, actually, I think I rewatched it sometime late last year because we was in the house, not doing nothing, just working, not working, eating, and just living in life. The Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers back in 1994.
I remember this one.
Where Sterling Sharp went OFF. They couldn't stop him. He had 13 targets, 9 receptions for 122 yards and 4 touchdowns. Scottie D, do you know who was the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys on this game?
Jason Garrett.
Yep. Captain clapping that himself. Good old Jason Garrett. Good old clapping Jason Garrett. But you know what? Jason Garrett made it do what it do with a little help from the defense and Emmitt Smith as they defeated the Green Bay Packers 42-31. It was a shootout. It was a good game. Another fond Thanksgiving memory. I'm not going to mention the Panthers and the Cowboys because B-Live done that enough, and we like happy Scottie D, not cranky Scottie D.
Who is we? Who is we? I enjoy cranky Scottie D.
Me and you, your
mama and your cousin.
That's just enough because big boy, I don't need big boy talk. Where that check, playboy? Hey, look, up to 30 seconds. And I know the rules. I know the laws.
Disrespectful.
I know the rules and laws in 30 seconds. I was sitting in my mom's house. Love my mama mission. Belly full of food. I said, ooh, I've been watching football all day. Let's watch New England and the New York Jets. It's going to be a pretty good game because that's when the Jets was good and, and Rex Ryan was the coach and they went to the AFC Championship game that year. So you figure it's going to be a good game. And then somehow, some way, Mark Sanchez snaps the ball, starts running, sees a big old green behind, and decides to run into it. Now, Mark Sanchez is probably all of 225, 230 pounds, and your average NFL lineman is anywhere between 270, 325. So not only did Mark Sanchez bump into the behind of his own lineman, the ball did too, and the ball went the other way. And ever since then, the Jets have been cursed. The infamous but fumble game. And I think that's, are we coming up on the 11-year anniversary of this game?
Yeah.
It's pretty close.
I thought it was 2012, so we're right in that range. I might be wrong on that, but
I don't know why. I thought it was 2010 for some strange reason. But either way,
it may have been. I can't swear to it.
Only thing I remember, I had a belly full of food. The tryptophan kicked in, and I saw that, and it was night for your boy Eddie Cool. So those are a few of my favorite Thanksgiving moments. When was it Be Live?
2012.
Okay, all right, 2012. I don't know why I added 2 more years. I mean, it just seems so far away, so distant. But yeah, shout out to everybody for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices, and happy Thanksgiving. Scottie D, what's on tap for next week?
All right, we're going to live in the moment and say, because we're so confused, but if the season ended right now, who would be the NFL's MVP? That's kind of a tricky one. Because there's nobody really seizing it. I mean, every other week somebody's seems to take control of the league, and then they lose to the Texans or something like that. So tell us who you think right now, if the season ended right now, or whenever you read this or hear this, who is the NFL MVP right now? And that will give us something to talk about next week, Eddie. Cool.
Like it.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. Enjoy your food. Plenty of football. Love each other. And if you're at the table saying a blessing, 10 seconds.
That's it. God is great. God is good. And thank you. Amen.
Don't be sitting at the table trying to bless the trees, the dogs walking across the road, the birds flying in the sky. I remember at a family reunion I went, and he kept going and going and going, and somebody squeezed my hand like, somebody make him stop. And I'm like, I can't. We stuck. We locked arms. We can't move. I got my mama pulling me one way, my brother pulling me the other way, and then somebody pinching me, and I'm trying not to laugh. Lord, let's bless the trees and the dogs.
Ooh, buddy.
That tree done been there 5th year. Well, Lord, let's bless this tree and give us some more shade.
Hey! Oh, boy.
I'm hungry yesterday. I'm hungry yesterday. Like, what are we doing here?
Oh, the smell all in your nose, and shut up.
Exactly. Next week, Choices of the Voices. See you next week.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
Well, you heard the woman. It's time for us to go home and get what I call the hell up out of here. But before we go, we're going to hit you in the face. Well, not literally, but figuratively speaking. We'll hit you with another round of pepper. You know how we do it. 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really. Here to engage, enlighten, and entertain. And let's just hope Scottie D doesn't get mad towards the end of the segment, all right? And with that being said, I'll go first, all right? On this day in history, back in 1988, the legendary Wayne Gretzky scores his 600th career NHL goal at the age of 27. What was I doing at the age of 27? Not scoring 600 goals, I'll tell you that much. All right, so the goal that we're talking about was scored in the first period at 8 minutes and 23 seconds, assisted by Dave Taylor. All right, the Kings went on to stomp the Detroit Red Wings 8-3. Gretzky reached his milestone in his 718th career game, and he finished his career with 894 goals. The question is, will Alex Ovechkin catch him? We shall see. Over to you, Scottie D.
Negative on that, Ghost Rider. All right. So last week, the MVP awards were announced in baseball. Shohei Ohtani won the AL MVP. No surprise there. He did it with the bat and as a pitcher this year. Hasn't been done in like 1,000 years. And then in the National League, he went to Bryce Harper. And I have to admit, I was surprised because somehow or another, Bryce Harper was under the radar with me this year.
Yeah.
So I started looking, and he batted .309 this year, which his average has not been that high in quite some time. He added 35 home runs and 84 RBIs. Guys, he deserved the MVP award, I guess. I mean, when I started thinking who else was in it, I mean, it looked early like Fernando Tatis, and then he kind of faded down the stretch. And maybe Acuna would have been in it had he not gotten hurt. But when I started thinking who else should it be, I couldn't really come up with anybody else. So Bryce Harper, 2-time MVP. Congratulations. Be Live, over to you.
Let me stretch out for this one right here.
Pepper. Oh, here we go.
You already know what time it is. College football playoff games. We didn't know that existed, and we're into the thick of it right now because I'm going to call this the round of 16 because there are some notable rivalry games that I'm actually like. There's a lot of games I could mention, but these are the ones that really, really matter. You got Georgia Tech. That's not. I mean, you got Iron Bowl, Alabama, Auburn. That could have been a playoff game, but it is not because Auburn lost to the Coups. I said what I said. So, I mean, Florida State, Florida, just who's going to be the worst team in Florida. There's a lot of games out there. But let's focus on the games that do have significance. And this is the round of 16 notable games, college football playoff games that we may or may not know about.
Scott.
Lehigh Lafayette. Lafayette.
They call it Bedlam. Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State. Number 13 Oklahoma versus number 9 Oklahoma State. The reason why this game is significant is because this game does determine who goes into the Big 12 championship. If Oklahoma State has already earned their right to be in the Big 12 championship. And then the Big 12 championship could have an outside chance of making it into the playoff if some things happen. If Oklahoma State wins, then they will face Baylor in the Big 12 championship. If Oklahoma wins, there will be a rematch of Bedlam, Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma wins twice in a row. If Baylor loses their game, then it'll be a rematch of Bedlam as well. So Oklahoma State could beat Oklahoma twice and make it into the back end of the playoff. Who knows? A lot of things can happen. So we shall see round of 16 college football playoff games. This already expanded. We don't need anything because it's already here. Eddie Cool, the ball.
All right, toss it back over to me. And with that being said, pepper point number 2. Speaking of throwing the ball, the Southern Mississippi Golden Eagles, not very good this season. All right. Louisiana Tech, equally not very good this season. Southern Mississippi, they've been having injuries with the quarterback position. It's just bad. Very, very bad. But you know what? In the world of football, next man up. And with that being said, Frank Gore Jr., that name sounds familiar. You may know his father. He played for several teams in the NFL and is one of the all-time leading rushers in the history of the National Football League. Well, his son.
Is it Frank Gore?
Frank Gore Jr. Yes, Frank Gore Jr. His son is playing at Southern Miss University as a running back. But they called upon Frank Gore Jr. to be a quarterback during the game. Now, alongside Frank Gore Jr., there were several other players who had their hand at quarterback as well, too. And it obviously worked out, all right? So, here's his numbers. Here's his line, all right? He went 4 for 8 for 75 yards with 2 touchdown passes and 1 rushing touchdown on the ground. The Golden Eagles defeat Louisiana Tech 35-19. So now we got Frank Gore Jr. out here throwing the ball. And I'll tell you what, those guys, Frank Gore Jr. and Frank Gore Sr., they know how to keep a job. That they do, except for Sr.,
yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. He's done his time, and it is what it is. So, yeah, shout out to Frank Gore Jr. for being the next man up. Over to you, Scottie D.
He could be the next Frank Gore. All right, so this past Saturday night, Terrence Crawford defeated Sean Porter in a welterweight championship fight with a 10th round TKO when Porter's dad effectively threw in the towel by standing up on the apron and calling it off. Porter had gone down twice in that round. He wasn't in tremendous trouble, but it was apparent to everyone that Crawford at that point was asserting his will on him. And now Sean Porter moves on to retirement. He announced his retirement after the fight. This guy is very articulate and knows boxing, and he's going to be great as going forward as an announcer. He's only 34 years old, and he said he's basically had enough. Now it's time for Terrence Crawford to move on, and hopefully we get to see the Earl Spence matchup that we've been looking for a couple of years. Earl Spence was actually at ringside, and when the fight ended, he didn't even stick around. He got up and took off, just walked right on out of the arena. So that sets up, hopefully, a big mega fight that we get to see in the spring. Sean Porter, great career. He won a couple championships, and very, very touching scene with him and his dad following the fight. He retires at the age of 34. But Terrence Crawford still the pound for pound best in the world. Be Live, over to you.
Excellent fight. I do appreciate Scottie D on top of the fight news, because I never get to see stuff because I'm always working. But round of 16 college football playoff that you didn't know already existed. Come on. This one is too easy. Everything is on the line. This is a playoff game. Ohio State versus Michigan, or in the way they like to put it, the Ohio State versus that team up north, or Michigan versus them Buckeyes, them poisonous nuts. However way you want to express the hate that goes on in this rivalry. All bets are off. Everything is on the line. When you go to the Big Ten championship, lose, you are out of the playoff contention altogether. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Whoever the winner of this game faces in the Big Ten championship is almost irrelevant when they're in, period, point blank. But this is a playoff game if there ever was one when it comes to Ohio State versus Michigan. This game is in Ann Arbor. Can Harbaugh pull it off? He is 0-5 against Ohio State. This is the time right here. He has to get it done. I've got $20 on the line, and I'm coming for you if you don't get it done. Ohio State made a statement against East Lansing and Michigan State Old Sparty. You got to do this for the entire state of Michigan. They don't even, they cross out M's. They don't even mention your name. This is pure hatred, and I'm here for it. This is absolutely an expanded playoff game. Eddie Cool, double.
All right, here we go. And my third and final pepper point, Scottie D, you'll love this one because guess what? This seems to be the year of Return of the Mac. And with that being said, here we go. All right. The new and improved United States Football League is back. Yes, it is back. And the teams were unveiled on the Colin Cowherd show this morning. And it goes as follows. All right. The divisions is the USFL North and the USFL South. In the North division, we have the Michigan Panthers.
Oh my gosh.
Then we have the New Jersey Generals.
Please tell me you have this on gallery view, please.
Hold on, let me expand. I'll start over again. All right. The SFL North. Here we go. All right. In the North division, we have the Michigan Panthers, the New Jersey Generals, the Philadelphia Stars, and the Pittsburgh Maulers.
Get out.
I'm not.
The Maulers are back? They didn't even survive the first time.
Hey,
oh, for crying out loud. You've got to be kidding me.
Here we go. All right. In the USFL South, we have the Birmingham Stallions, one of the dopest that there is. The Houston Gamblers, the New Orleans Breakers, and the world famous, formerly coached by Steve Spurrier, the Tampa Bay Bandits. All right. So here's the deal. The games will be played on Saturday and Sunday. It'll be a 10-game season. The league is co-owned by Fox Sports Network.
This is incredible.
Yeah, man. Also, the league will kick off and run through mid-June. I'm reading my own article that I posted on Keon Sports Online. I'll provide the link later. All right. And we played on Saturdays and Sundays and during the 10-game regular season at a central location to be named later, and the playoffs will begin shortly thereafter the season. All right. The overseers, to make sure everything is good in order, is Brian Woods. All right. Brian Woods was the founder and CEO of the Spring League from 2017 to 2021, and he will serve as the president of football operations. Scottie D, got another name for you that you're going to like. Legendary Cowboys fullback, 3-time Super Bowl champion, Daryl Moose Johnston. All right. He's slated to be. Yes, he's slated. Get your money, Moose. He's slated to be the vice president of football operations. And our buddy Mike Pereira, they got him too. And he'll be the head of officiating to make sure everything goes well. So, yeah, a possible return to the XFL. We got
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
We got the Fan Control Football League, and putting his name in some more spring football is the United States Football League. I think it'll work this time because America, no, we love us.
No, it's not gonna work. It's not.
I knew Scottie D was gonna do this.
It's not gonna work.
But it's a story worth reporting. With that being said,
are they sponsored by New Coke and Vanilla Ice's second album? I mean, it's just not gonna work.
Hey, they got Fox money back in this, so we'll see how this goes. Over to you, Scottie D.
This is such a bad idea. All right. I told you guys I was going to be paying attention early to college basketball, and this week Gonzaga is ranked number 1. And Tuesday night, the night that this podcast is released, they're going to be taking on UCLA, who's number 2, and on Friday night they're going to be taking on Duke, who's number 5. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Get in the ring and get it done. Gonzaga, UCLA, Duke, all fighting it up this week in college basketball, and I'm ready for it. Happy Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Be Live, over to you.
Somebody say something about getting fired up.
Eddie, cool. I'm going to cede a little bit of moment time to you because I know you want to mention the game that happened today.
Yes, the game that happened today, the number 1 team in the country, the Lady Gamecocks of South Carolina, they defeated UConn. And from what B-Live told me earlier today, the voters were going to wait to see the outcome of this game. It don't matter. They should have put us at number 1 anyway. Bam.
And so you had in women's basketball, you had number 1 versus number 2. And in men's basketball, the next day, you got number 1 versus number 2. This is, oh, man. But it's still college football to me. I love that they're starting off this strong, but I haven't made that switch yet.
And in the NBA, we had a fight a few nights ago. They were fighting.
Oh, man, I don't even want to. Woo, boy. That dude was Big Mac. He's Big Mac. LeBron hit him in the eyeball. All right, with that being said,
go ahead.
Round of 16 college football playoff game that you might not know about. And I'm going to go ahead and let you know right now, this is not a playoff game at all.
Lehigh Lafayette?
This is not a playoff game at all. If you guys know me, if the listeners and the viewers out there know anything about me, you know what game I'm about to mention. Any guesses? Any guesses whatsoever?
Georgia Tech.
All roads lead to Dabo.
All roads lead to Dabo. The Palmetto Bowl. Clemson versus South Carolina. It's about to go down. It doesn't even matter about anything else. It doesn't matter that Clemson's 8-3 and is on the outside looking in. It doesn't matter if we're hoping that Wake Forest loses to Boston College. We hope that NC State loses to North Carolina and Clemson finds a way into the ACC championship. But it does not matter. We don't write the narrative. All that matters is what's going down in Willie Bryce Stadium, Columbia, South Carolina. All bets are off the table. It's just we don't like them. They don't like us. I think South Carolina has played 7 different quarterbacks. We don't care. We don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be a completely different playbook. I guarantee you're going to see plays you haven't seen all season long. Clemson versus South Carolina, the Palmetto Bowl. Can South Carolina end the slide that started way back in November 2013, where I was surrounded by a litany of my friends, all wearing garnet and black, holding up 5. Because back in 2013, that was the Gamecocks' 5th straight victory against us, and they have not beaten us in 8 years, and it's not about to start now. Eddie Cool, I love you. You're my brother, but you know that. And we'll be cool. We'll be cool after the game, but until that time, it's about to go down.
Since we're cutting promos, I'll say this. We done lost to one group of Tigers. We've avenged that loss and beat the other group of Tigers. So we ain't scared of no Tigers.
Ain't
nobody scared no time. You know what? I'm feeling real good about
you
us.
see the shirt. I bleed
real
more.
good about us.
For
We
crying
at
out
home. It's gonna be rocking. The Bojangles gonna be hopping. The grills is gonna be cooking. The drinks is gonna be flowing, and the booties will be whooping. Understand that. We ain't scared of no
Ain't nobody worried about no sandstorm, little dirt spit. Ain't worried about none of that.
bubble
That
screen,
little.
back shoulder fade,
Oh, you think?
RPO,
Oh, you think we're
HBO
gonna
and
run
Cinemax.
You think we're gonna run the same offense we've been running? Oh, did you see what we did against Wake Forest? Did you see what we did against the number 10 team in the country?
You was gonna beat them anyway.
48 points. You're best
excuse
be
me.
afraid.
Excuse me. Time out, white guy.
What?
I think the people listening might have a Thanksgiving dinner to get to. Can we wrap this thing up here and let these people get to pull the wishbone before midnight on Thursday?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. By the time you listen to this, it'll probably be Wednesday morning, and you might be eating breakfast. No, thanks for joining us for another action-packed episode of the Sports Bros Podcast, episode number 132. All right? Have a happy Thanksgiving. Love each other. Take care. Be cool. And in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They'll appreciate it now more than ever. This has been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Be safe.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Y'all take care of each other. Be good. Don't be no arguing, no fighting. Don't be unveiling no family secrets. Just act like you got some sense for once, all right? Do that. See you next
Go
week.
Tigers. Yes, sir.
Go Gamecocks.